Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Marianne Pinkston, and welcome to the Better Life with Dr. Pinkston. I am bringing you an extra episode with Ray Solano from PD Labs up in Cedar Park, Texas, and the Laval Performance Health Center. And so welcome in, Ray. I know we've got a great topic that everybody wants to hear about, and that's menopause. Menopause. It doesn't have to be a bad thing at all. It can be wonderful, actually.
Well, we don't realize there's 2 billion people in the world that are going to go through menopause this year. And, as the population ages, this is something that we've talked about for a long period of time, but we don't realize the cascade of people, of women that are going to have to go through menopause.
Yes.
And unfortunately, there's a couple things that are warning signs. There's not enough providers to be able to answer these questions.
Now, something interesting, Ray, and I hate interrupting. I'm so sorry.
Sure.
But I want women to understand, men too, that menopause actually happens very quietly and symptomatic free for 70% of women. 30% of women actually have the enormous amount of symptoms, the extensive hot flashes and, all. And so it can be kind of a silent phase that people go through.
That's right.
Once you go through it, though, things change dramatically, exponentially. The bone loss, the increase in heart attack and strokes and dementia and cancer and all those things, just because the loss of the hormones. So, it can be a silent killer in a way. And I want people to understand that.
Well, that's exactly right. The changing, the loss of estrogen production causes a tremendous cascade of effects that do occur, like you just mentioned.
Yep.
And 30% of them are completely miserable and life-changing, and it's dysfunction. It makes them dysfunctional. So but people don't really educate themselves as how to, one, be able to protect ovary production, so that it does not, it goes out gradually as opposed to stops. And there's a lot of lifestyle changes that can occur that you can minimize some of those negative effects.
Right.
And so all this education is, unfortunately, most people get it all from social media. And they have to, that's where everybody gets their information today. They won't talk, to practitioners that have studied this for 20 years, because unfortunately, this seems to be a better, a more reliable resource. So unfortunately, that's
absolutely.
It's a shame. But what we're going to do is to put out a full effort to be able to educate people and to make it affordable, because at the same time, menopause treatments are getting to be a money-making machine for many practices, to be able, for only the elite to be able to afford them, whether it's for expensive medications or expensive lab tests or therapies that it's just not available for the many of the people that unfortunately are day-to-day working to be able to take care of their families. So what we're trying to take a layer off of that and put it together, a bundle that includes everything. And on a 3-month program, just give us 3 months, and we'll be able to put all the lab tests together, put the diet consults together, put any of the pharmaceuticals that are needed in there, and be able to do a turnkey for less than about $200 a month.
Yeah.
And I think that's just, it's about 50% less than what everybody else is offering.
And that's like, people, hear 200 and they think sticker shock. And I tell people that break that down into how much that is per week, right? Or is that about $25 a week? Am I wrong?
25, it comes out to about $50 a
$50 a
week.
week.
But
So
the
sorry,
important thing is
I'm a
these
doctor, not
lab
a
tests are,
mathematician.
lab tests will run about $200. Some of these pharmaceuticals can run about at least $100 a month.
Right.
And then the consultation is the big part, it costs money for the practitioners in their time, the dietitians. You can sit there and go, well, you probably will lose money. Well, we're going fine.
Right. But think
We'll
about what
lose
you
money,
do,
but
$50 a week
why
that you
not?
waste, right?
That's right. We're going to make a difference. It's just really we think that this would be a good community outreach for folks to, and check out our website lavalperformance.com. LAVALLE performance.com is a menopause special that we're doing for women, and we just we think it's the right thing to do. We're going to put all of our time and effort to get the word out.
So when people think of menopause, they think estrogen only. And they don't
Right.
realize that there's a whole host of hormones underneath. And when I talk to women about testosterone, for instance, I get that look like I've got a third eye on my head. It's a testosterone. I thought that was for men. And women don't realize, yes, men need a higher level. Women do need it though. That's keeps our muscles toned and built, keeps our metabolism going when our muscles are toned and built. A lot of memory issues can occur when your testosterone is low, your energy is down, your sex drive is down. Women are largely hit in their sex drive when they start to lose their testosterone. So in your late 20s is when you begin to lose testosterone. Now, this is where you get into your late 30s, early 40s, and a lot of OB-GYNs or doctors will say, well, you're in perimenopause. That is a term I don't really believe in. We
I
make estrogen until we don't make estrogen anymore. But what we start losing is our testosterone in our late 20s, and we lose 20% or 10% of our muscle mass each decade. Until we reach menopause. So there's where the danger is, and there's a lot we can do about that beforehand, starting early.
And testosterone is a source metabolically for additional estrogens.
Yes.
And so, and pregnenolone is a master hormone as a dietary supplement. That makes estrogens and testosterones and progesterone. So, there are some tools that people can use to get those levels correct.
Right.
It's not just progesterone. It's not just estrogens. It's not progesterone. But if you're having Twinkies for breakfast all the time, and some people consume about a half a bottle of cocktails a day,
right?
And it's when you start looking at the risk factors, what people do, you go, yeah, I think that liter of Coca-Cola a day, I don't think I should be doing.
Absolutely.
But people do this.
Yes, they do. And as you've coined it, the Super Bowl,
it starts 2 weeks. Super Bowl of sugar starts in 2 weeks.
Exactly, with Halloween, and here we go all the way to Easter. Really, candy. So.
Well, we're cutting it off at Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl of sugar. You just think about it, right?
Right.
50% of all the sugar is consumed in the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And a good portion of it is going to be consumed during Halloween.
Right.
Okay. So it's a big moneymaker for all the candy manufacturers. Okay. So it's huge volumes will be consumed, and we start in the little kids out at 2 or 3 years old. And get that habit, okay, because your body it's really an addictive substance.
It is.
And then it starts and it rolls right into Thanksgiving, and then it rolls right into the holiday season,
right.
And then you have New Year's, and of course you have the Super Bowl, of course, and so that's when it breaks out, and then you go into Valentine's Day. Okay, so to the 14th, and you think about it, you lump all that together and look at the lifestyle people are going to consume. They're going to the additional baked goods, the diet is out the window.
Yeah.
So we call it the Super Bowl of sugar.
And so with the, when I test for hormones, and I've been doing it longer than most physicians, really, before it was sexy and popular and a big money maker. And so I've been testing for a long time, and I noticed that the the lower testosterone levels are getting younger and younger and younger, and that and men are shocked by this, and then they want that one product, the vitamin that is going to boost their testosterone levels, not understanding that it really goes back to lifestyle and exercise, and those are the things that can help to boost. And then many times it's too late. The replacement is necessary, and so I know you've got a great replacement. We've talked about the more oral form, which is interesting.
That's right. We come up with the special delivery method that takes these insoluble drugs, nutrients, and be able to put them in a envelope or a lithosphere, we call it, that the body is a fat, the cells are fat, so the like attracts like. So it's be able to assimilate inside cells. So it's almost like a Trojan horse. Okay. He gets into the cell in very, very small particle sizes. And so you get the therapeutic effects with less drug,
right.
Less nutraceutical. So we do the same thing for testosterone. We're able to get therapeutic levels of, for some patients, and as long as they have some other risk factors, to be able to get therapeutic levels of testosterone without injections.
Right.
Or without topical creams, and not have the risk factors that are associated with taking oral testosterone. Absolutely. Because that's not something you can take because of the liver toxicity. Absolutely. And enzymes that are cause a problem. Yes. So it's a hormone. You have to get the right dosage. And if we start out very small, 2.5 milligram tablets, and be able to dose that accordingly to the patient. Right. But, we have to fix the gut. We talk about the lipopolysaccharides, and all these things diminish your normal hormone production. Right. So you got to fix the boat that's got a huge hole in it before you start bailing out the water. But we're just a little bit. I think that's what we're learning more and more.
Good.
It's not just the hormone, right. But why is the leaking occurring?
Exactly. And so the hormones are so important to so many different things. And many patients don't understand how devastating osteoporosis can be, for instance. I'm testing many, many women, and starting at 50, whether they're in menopause or not, we start at 50. And I rarely find anybody with their bone density normal. Osteopenia, which is thinning of the bone, you still have a 65% chance of a fracture over time, and then full-blown osteoporosis, where you have an 85% chance of a fracture. In my mind, there's not much difference between 65 and 85. So osteoporosis can end lives. This is actually listed as one of the things that, is higher on the list for death, especially of women, but now of men. And so I know a lot of dietary factors come underneath it, a lot of vitamin and supplement factors, and exercise especially, and all of these things can influence your hormones, and not have to take some of the more dangerous drugs that don't really build bone, don't really protect you, but maybe put off your fracture or whatnot. Right. But there's so many things people can do underneath besides just hormone replacement. It's very important.
Well, you got to team with a practitioner like yourself that can cut to everything that works. Right. Okay. And I think that's one of the things we're known for. We get results. And if you're not getting results, then we failed, and we don't fail. Then we just absolutely make sure that the person, we uncover and play detective work why it's occurring. And many times, I can't tell you how many people come in that have had underlying mold infections. Yes. They're living in a moldy house. Oh, by the way, they got exposed to it years ago, and with all the floods and hurricanes. Just think of the people that are being exposed to all those toxic fluids. Absolutely. So unfortunately, we live in a toxic world, and we have to acknowledge that. But we take the trash out of our house. Yep. You need to take the trash out of our bodies. So
something I learned the other day that was really interesting about, we mentioned environmental, especially here in South Texas, when we get into a hot car, your car has been on the inside has been 120, 130 degrees for a couple of hours, and you get into a hot car, all the plastics that are in the car have heated up, and the air is full of BPA and the
Right.
other hormone disruptors and whatnot. So that was something I'd never thought of and learned the
I
other
never
day.
did either. So I guess we just breathe deeply, huh? And chew some glutathione.
Exactly. I start my car before I go out there, and I have the air conditioner set, and the window comes
Right.
down just a little bit, and I just give it time to just air out. And
There, you're out. There we go.
it's
Well,
all around us.
unfortunately, we live in a toxic world,
We do.
and your body is an amazing washing machine that fixes whatever it comes and ails with. Just think about what it was in the 1920s. What a awful environmental pollution that was out there,
Right.
and what we survived. And I think we didn't live very long, but we weren't overweight.
Right.
But unfortunately, your body it has an amazing immune system. So what we want to be able to do is strengthen it so it can be resilient and can take out the insults. And when you have a strong constitution, your body is fine tuned. When it gets a bullet wound from an infection, it can heal very quickly.
Right.
It can turn it around in 6 to 8 hours, whereas most people it takes 2 or 3 weeks.
Right.
So that's the thing that, as we live in a virus-ridden world and toxicity is worse than we ever, the hope is you need to be able to reach for those remedies that really make a huge difference. And that's what we're all about. We give you the tools for your survival.
Right. Absolutely. Well, we've got about a minute and a half before we hit the break. So how can people get in touch with you?
If you can give our clinic a call, check us out, lavalleperformance.com. That's LAVALLE performance.com. And phone number is 512-219-0782. Check us out. We've got solutions and things that you probably have never seen before.
Absolutely. And you really want to look in on this. This is a great opportunity to start personalized medicine, build your health, and live longer, better. And I absolutely love it. So you can also go to drpbetterlife.com and see all of our previous shows. We've talked a lot about hormones and various issues. So a lot of information in 3 years, Ray. We've done a lot, and I love it. So drpbetterlife.com. We are going to take a short break and be back on the other side. See you soon.
Hi, this is Ray Solano with your Healthy Choices Minute, sponsored by Prescription Dispensing Labs. New research has concluded that implementing dietary changes could prevent gut inflammatory processes involved in some chronic diseases. Modulation of your gut microbes through diets enriched with vegetables, legumes, grains, nuts, and a higher intake of plant over animal foods has a potential to prevent intestinal inflammatory conditions at the core of many chronic diseases. In short, the foods we eat and our dietary patterns have a major influence on our immune system that can cause many conditions we are suffering from today. Solution: try our OptiMeal shake. Our team has developed the best tasting, healthiest shake you've ever experienced to control blood sugar and to improve your gut. Start your day today with a healthy choice. Call us today at 888-909-0110 for a free sample of the OptiMeal shake. 888-909-0110. Remember, you have a choice in healthcare.
Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Mary Ann Pinkston. Welcome back. We are on the other side talking a little bit about hormones, especially menopause. And so something I want to focus on a minute is progesterone. So we hear a lot about estrogen. We hear a lot about testosterone. But that other little hormone there is just as important. Many doctors, when they are doing hormone replacement, if women have had a hysterectomy, will tell women that you don't need progesterone. And that is absolutely not true. So the benefits of progesterone, not only in helping you build your bone and maintain your bone, but can also increase, if you take it at night, it can increase a substance called GABA, which helps with sleep and anxiety. We also use it, I use it a lot in my MS patients and neurologically affected patients because progesterone is very protective of the neurological system. And so there's so many more things. So tell us your story about what you know about progesterone, how important it is.
Well, it's amazing. This is the first thing that women, their levels drop when they're under stress, and it starts in their 40s. We see, and many times as women are going through menopause, it's not really a loss of estrogens. It's usually a loss of progesterone that occurs first. So that's why it's important to realize that progesterone is an important hormone. It is not just something that you would use after. I guess many people think that, well, you went through menopause, your ovaries are not working, or they've had surgeries, that they don't need it. It's an important building block for bones. It's an important building block for sleep. It's an important building block for mood stabilization. So, and I think that's it's a lot of misunderstanding about it. It's many times it's available as it is a pharmaceutical that's prescription. Yeah. There's some non-prescription available, but large pharmaceutical companies started making progesterone topical creams and suppositories. So it's widely available. It is. But unfortunately, sometimes the cost is prohibitive for patients. And, we're seeing more and more people they can't afford some of these very critical medications, as building blocks, I should say. So, or maybe their copays are too high. Yeah. So I think we've heard it all.
Yeah. Let me point out too, because you bring up the pharmaceutical version. This is very important. I try to teach my patients, because when I try to prescribe, progesterone, I do a nice slow release of a compounded, made from the yam. It's a very natural source. The body recognizes it as what you have made. The pharmaceutical version is either progestin, which is not progesterone. It is completely synthetic, and it works very differently, and is not, in my mind, a safe alternative. But that is insurance covered. Or they have the other one, the Prometrium, which is basically made from peanut oil. I think, if I remember back,
it has some peanut oil in there. So, it's got some other additives, excipients that really don't need to be in there. However, it extends shelf life for 2 years.
Right. And we don't need that. The compounded version is the only version that I will prescribe. Now, you mentioned expense, and there are oftentimes a lot of, the pharmacies that I send to, if I don't send to PD labs, which is very rare, are very, very expensive. But you have made this, I think you've got an offer for everybody to make this a little more affordable.
Well, we want to give back to the community. There's no sense that people would suffer for it. So we're trying to come up with a price point that everybody can afford. And so we're going to offer progesterone prescriptions, no matter the strengths, for $25. And that's 50% less than normal. But they have to mention your website and your podcast, because they contact you and said that they'd listen to our podcast, that we get a special offer. But tell your friends. There's no excuse for people to get good health, and it's unfortunately, all the stuff is not free. Maybe it should be free. That's for another discussion. But let's do our part and to be able to offer a special promotion. Absolutely. $25 for progesterone topical prescription, and I think that's affordable for people.
Absolutely. So, and you've got a good oral version too that I often do for the higher. When we're doing hormone replacement for women, they do have we do a higher dosing of it, and it is available in an oral form if needed. And you've been great with my patients to deliver good pricing, and so you do on all of your things. You got a lot of vitamins and supplements that you offer. Even I think some protein powders for protein drinks and weight loss. Right,
with protein powders without whey protein that has hemp protein, flaxseed and watermelon seeds. Very unique and different. Branch chain amino acids. Yeah. So there's lots of different choices. It's not just one size fits all. And so we try to give people solutions that are affordable. And unfortunately, the insurance model has driven solutions and products that sometimes are don't fit the box. Right. And so by them not covering something, they don't cover compounded medications for whatever reason, I'm not sure. that they make it difficult for people,
Yes.
and even people with their FSA cards. We figured out a way to give people a statement of needs for that. They make it difficult for them there.
Right.
So we try to remove the barriers and do common sense. So if nothing else, our pharmacy uses common sense approach.
Absolutely.
Very novel thing and almost in short supply these days.
Which is crazy to me. That's just it's not the way my dad raised me. The
That's
customer
right.
was always first.
Use
The
some
customer was always
let's
right.
do some common sense.
Right.
What makes sense?
Absolutely. So, in the last minute and a half, what tell us how people can get in touch with you and make an appointment?
Yeah, our pharmacy number is pdlabsrx.com, pdlabsrx.com. Our phone number is 512-219-0724. And tell them you listen to Dr. Pinkston's podcast, Better Life, and you're looking for some specials on progesterone, and we'll take care of it from there.
Love it. Thank you for that. And so, yes, you can go to drpbetterlife.com. The contact form is in there. All emails come to me. I man the whole thing. And of course, find more information on Ray and PD Labs and Jim Laval and the Laval Performance Health Center, and how to get started on your personalized program, because this is very important. You start early. You don't have to wait until you're feeling it or diagnosed with menopause or whatever to get started. You can get started so much earlier than that. But Ray, thank you as always.
Thank
I
you.
hope everybody has a great week.
Okay, you too.
We'll be seeing
Take
you
care.
again soon.